We'll start out with a nigun to get us warmed up, melody without words. Yai, lai, 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 lai. One more time. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. We turn now to page 99. I tell you that nigun was written by my son Justin, who really inspired me to travel to Israel this summer after a long time of not being there because of the pandemic. And that's his song, his melody. We're going to move on to page 99, Elohai Neshama, the soul that you breathed into me, God, is pure. And so let's think about breathing. And let's breathe in Shabbat. And breathe out all the junk, the craziness, the anxiety of the week. Let's do it again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Elohai Neshama. Elohai, Elohai. Neshama, Neshama. Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi. Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Breathe in and out. We continue now on page 141. If you know the pages better than me, just call them out. Because I was telling our intern that I know the pages on the Silverman better than I do on here, and that was like 30 years ago. Okay. Kol Hanshama, with all of our soul, with all of our being, we pray to God. Page 141. We'll start with Kol Hanshama. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hanshama Hallelujah. 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 El Bikocho. Hallelujah. Birkia Uzo. Hallelujah. Bigvurotab. Hallelujah. Kerovulo. Kol Hanshama. Kol Hanshama. Hallelujah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. 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 Beteka shofar. Hallelujah. Benebel v'chinor. Hallelujah. Betofu macho. Hallelujah. Beminim be'ugam. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. 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 B'tziltelei Shama. Hallelujah. B'tziltelei Trua. Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Join me. Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol Hanshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We ask everyone now to please rise for the Song of the Sea. We'll find it on page 143. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi lishua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi lishua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi lishua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi Bezimrat ya vayehi lishua. Ozi bezimrat ya vayehi lishua. Adonai, Adonai. For those of you who are saying the Mourner's Kaddish, either for Yurtzeit or those in mourning, please, feel the need to, please rise on page 121, Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit gadash shemer rabah be'olema divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman karim v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach le'alam u'lemei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu le'ela amin kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemai v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Say shalom b'mrama hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Chazan Stein, for leading us in a beautiful Pesukei de Zimra. Welcome to those that are here in our sanctuary. It's so nice to see you. To those online, both near and far, Shabbat Shalom. It's great to have you with us. For those that don't know me, I am one of the new rabbinic interns here at Temple Aliyah, David Mendelson. I hope to meet all of you a little bit later today and throughout the year. We will be continuing our service with Shochein Ad as we prepare to climb the mountain that is the Shacharit service. Shochein Ad begins on page 147.
And we are going to use a melody from the Abba Yudaya, which is not exactly Eastern European, so you'll forgive me. We'll go to Eastern European at about 32 bars. I'll see if you know when we do that. There are no minor chords in Africa, at least in East Africa, so. Shochein Ad maru v'kadosh shemo v'chatu ranenu tzadikim Adonai. Let's do that again. Shochein Ad maru v'kadosh shemo v'chatu Tzadikim Adonai La Yesharim Nava Tehila Befi Yesharim Titala Uvedivre Tzadikim Tibarach Uvilshon Chasidim Titrobam Ubekerev Kedoshim Titkadash Umakalot Revevot Amacha Beit Yisrael V'nir Preshim Chamakenu V'kodor Vador Shekein Chovat Kol HaYitzurim לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, לעלה ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. האל המלך גדול בשמיים וארץ, כי לך לאבותינו. שיר ושפחה, הלל וזמרה, עוז וממשלה, נצח, גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוכה בשירי זמרה, מלך אלכי העולמים. 148, middle of from the page. Yitgadal, Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabba. Be'olma divrei chirutei, be'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'b'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'b'zman karim, b'meru amen. Yehesh me'Rabba mivorach, le'alam le'almei amaya yitba. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitala shemei dekudesha shemei dekudesha elam min kol b'chata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru amen. We ask you now to please rise for the call to service as I fix my dropped E string. For the Baruch Hu. Next page. Lai, 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai, 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 lai. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la la la, ay la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, la la la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uborei choshech, osei shalom. Seated. And we'll go to page 151 for the beautiful, poetic, acrostically driven El Adon. El Adon al kol hamasim, baruch baruch b'fika neshama, kolo v'tuvo malei olam, da'atu v'naso v'vimoto. Godlo v'tuvo malei olam, da'atu v'naso v'vimoto. Amitkae achayot hakodesh v'nedar b'chabur al hamerkava, zechut u'mishon lifnei chisa, chesed v'rachamim lifnei chevodo. Zechut u'mishon lifnei chisa, chesed v'rachamim Tovim me'orot shebara Elohein, Yitzaram v'dak v'vina uvaskel, Koach u'gvura natan bahem, Liot moshlim b'kerev te'ever, Gvura natan bahem, Liot moshlim b'kerev te'ever, Meleim ziv u'fikim logana. Smechim b'tzeitam, zosim b'voam, osim b'eim. תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ויופנים וחיות הקודש. We continue now on page 153. Bottom of the page, last two lines. That was South American folk song, by the way. Now we're going back to Eastern Europe. Or chadash, or chadash, or chadash, or chadash. Yay, lay, lay, yay, la, 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 lay. Ay, lay, lay, la, 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 lay, lay, lay. Or chadash, al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Or chadash, al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Or chadash, al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Or chadash, al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Hey, hey, hey. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. Page 154, final blessing before the Shema. Page 154. Ahava Rabbah Tanu Adonai Eloheinu Emla gedola v'tera chamalta aleinu Avinu Malkeinu ba'avur avotenu shebatchu bך אבינו מלכנו ותלמדנו חוקי חיים כן תכוננו למדנו אבינו המרחם רחם עלינו ותן ליבנו להבינו להשכיל לשמוע ללמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והארנו בתורתך ודבק לבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול הנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
Those of us wearing a talit, it is time that we can gather our four tzitzit in our hands in preparation of the Shema. As we gather our four tzitzit in our hands, we also gather the hopes and prayers for peace across the entire world. V'havi'enu is on page 154.
V'havi'en l'shalom me'arba kanfo haaretz v'tolichem ארצנו, כי אל אוהל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, לשמך הגדול, זה באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We continue page 156. והיין שמות Second paragraph together. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We continue on page 157. After the words Ledor Vador in the first paragraph, at the red arrow, we kiss the tzitzit for one last time. Ironically, I can't do that because I'm playing guitar. But the words are Ledor Vador. In every generation, right? The words that we've just spoken are true, the words of the Shema. Lai 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 lai. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, הוא קיים ושמו קיים, בכיסו נכון ומלכותו, באמונתו לעד קיימת. לדור ודור, הוא קיים ושמו קיים, בכיסו נכון ומלכותו, באמונתו Next page, מי כמוך, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר וקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, השיר החדשה, שיבחו גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים, יחד כולם, הודו והמלכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, די די די, דה 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 די, די די די, דה 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 די, די די די, די 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 די. Please rise at the bottom of page 158. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חינומך יהודה וישראל. Go עלינו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, God Israel. Page 159, we begin together the Amidah. Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מחכה חיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו, משני עפר, להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי אמרו. כך כתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול. מכנסים לעומת סרפים, מכנסים לעומת סרפים, מכנסים לעומת סרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך? תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, ולנצח נצחים. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. בעינינו תראנה, תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, על ידי דוד, משיח צדקך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Turn to page 166, the third line from the bottom, Yiyu l'ratzon, and the English on the other side of the page as well. Yiyu l'ratzon, imrei five, hegion libi, lefanecha. Adonai, Suri begoali, begoali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you. Adonai, my rock and my redeemer, and my redeemer. Yiyu l'ratzon, yiyu l'ratzon, imrei five, hegion libi, lefanecha. Adonai, Suri begoali, Akari Shalem, we find on the next page, 167. יתגלה ויגלה שמי רבה, ואומר דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון ובימי חון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח וישפאר ותרומה מנעשה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לאלה מן כברתה ושירתה ותשפחתה ונכם על צדה מרום עלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותו וברוך ויתזרקו וברשמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמיו יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
We are about to begin our Torah service. If you have been honored with opening the Ark or you are our Baal Torah, please come forward. We will begin with Ein Kamocha on the top of page 168.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. הב הרחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי לך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. ויהי מנשוא הארון, ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני, ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Please join me on the left side on the top of page 169, a prayer for the day of rest. I long to change the world, but I rarely appreciate things as they are. I know how to give, but I don't always know how to be still. I talk, but I don't often listen. I look, but I don't often see. I yearn to succeed, but I often forget what is truly important. Teach me, God, to slow down. May my resting revive me. May it lead me to wisdom, to holiness, to peace, and to you.
Continue on page 170. Be'anarachet v'lishme kadisha, kadisha, yakira, na, na'ima, tushbe'an. Be'anarachet v'lishme kadisha, kadisha, yakira, na, Be'anarachet v'lishme kadisha, kadisha, yakira, na, na'ima, v'tushbe'an, v'tashlin v'sho'alin, delibi, v'liba dechol amach Yisrael. Be'anarachet v'lishme kadisha, kadisha, yakira, na'ima, v'tushbe'an, v'tavu l'chaim v'lishlam. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlu Adonai iti uneromema shemo yachdav. Yisrael, Yisrael, ve'oraitachanu. Yisrael, Yisrael, ve'oraitachanu. Ay, ay, Torah, ora, hallelujah. Torah, ora, hallelujah. Torah, ora, hallelujah. Torah, ora, hallelujah. Yisrael, Yisrael, be'oraita chadhu. Yisrael, Yisrael, be'oraita chadhu.
You may be seated. You may put away your red siddur and take out your red chumash. For those of you at home who have the Etz Chaim chumash, you may take that out, or any Torah text that you may have access to. This week we're going to be reading Parashat Chukat from the book of Bamidbar, and we will begin our reading on page 890, Numbers chapter 21, verse 11.
If you have the first Aliyah, please come forward. V'yazur v'yagein v'yoshir l'chol ha'chusim bo v'nomar amen. Hako havu godel Eloheinu utinu chavod laTorah ya'amadu. Yitzchak ben Avraham. Shoshana. Bat Yehuda. Rishon, Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. V'atem hadbekim b'Adonai Elohechem, chayim kuchem hayom.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborah. Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bakar bana mikol ha'amim, v'tatan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Vayisu me'ovot v'yachanu b'iyei ha'avarim b'midbar asher al pnei Moav mimizrach hashamesh misham nisa'u v'yachanu b'nachal zared misham nisa'u v'yachanu me'ever Arnon asher b'midbar hayetze migvul ha'emori ki Arnon gevul Moav ben ha'emori.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah ha'emet, v'hei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. How many of us have that one friend or relative who is always there for us? I see mine right in front of me. Whenever we are facing a difficult challenge, a life-altering moment, or decision, we know that we can call or FaceTime them, and they will answer, providing comfort, advice, anything we might need. They are there for us. When the stress of work or school seems impossible to handle, they are there to provide coping mechanisms and reassure us. Sometimes we may look at others and wonder how they keep it all together. Coworkers, classmates, CEOs, world leaders, they can make it seem so effortless. Well, behind that cool as a cucumber attitude, there's most likely a support system behind them. In our Parashat Chukat, we witness what can happen when one loses their support system, when they can no longer look to them for guidance and comfort. We learn that despite leading the Israelite nation through the wilderness for 40 years, Moses is told that he is unable to enter the land of Israel. Could you imagine working so hard in your life for 40 years, and just as you are reaching the finish line of a major project, you are told that you can't finish that job? But unfortunately, you won't get to experience the excitement of crossing that finish line. On the first new moon of the 40th year of the journey through the wilderness, Moses and Aaron lose their beloved sister, Miriam. This is a major loss not only for Moses and Aaron, but the entire Israelite community. Our Torah doesn't have much to say regarding this moment. If you look at the bottom of page 883 and the top of page 884, I'll give you a moment. We can see that in chapter 20, verse 1, quote, "The Israelites arrived in a body at the wilderness of Zin on the first new moon, and the people stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there." The next verse informs us that the community was without water, and they joined against Moses and Aaron. Moses and Aaron just lost their sister, and without any time to digest what happened, they are thrown into a crisis. They are stuck in the wilderness, leading hundreds of thousands of people, and there's no water. Without water, depending on age and health, a person may be able to survive for 3 days. If you take into account that they are in a desert and may not have been fully hydrated to begin with, they would be lucky to survive 1 day. It makes sense that the Israelites are anxious and quarrel with Moses and Aaron. They yell at Moses and Aaron, "If only we had perished at the instance of the Lord. Why have you brought the Lord's congregation into this wilderness for us and our beasts to die there? Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no grain or figs or vines or pomegranates? There's not even water to drink." Now, we know that Moses is no fan of when the people complain, but he finds a way to feed or give them water. As in the past, Moses seeks out God to provide an answer. Moses and Aaron head towards the tent of meeting, where God tells Moses and Aaron, "You and your brother Aaron take the rod and assemble the community, and before their very eyes order the rock to yield its water. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock and provide drink for the congregation and their beasts." Moses took the rod from before the Lord as God had commanded him. Moses and Aaron assembled the congregation in front of the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you from this rock?" And Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. Out came copious water, and the community and their beasts drank. Problem solved, right? Everyone has water, everything's good, they're going to survive. No. The people complained that there was no water. Moses gave them water. Should be fine. But the text continues. "But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, 'Because you did not trust me enough to affirm my sanctity in the sight of the Israelite people, therefore you shall not lead this congregation into the land that I have given them.'" What happened? Did Moses and Aaron mess up so bad that God would forgive them from leading the Israelites into the land? Our commentators are so bothered by this moment in the Torah and attempt to find an answer to this question. Was the sin against God? Was it a lack of faith in God, as it says, "Because you did not trust me enough"? Rashbam and Sforno claim that Moses' lack of faith occurred when he struck the rock rather than spoke to the rock. Moses didn't believe that simply talking to a rock would work. Ramban claims that the lack of faith occurred when Moses struck the rock twice rather than once. Or perhaps the sin was against the community. Did Moses' anger get the best of him? Rambam believes that Moses' anger led the community to wrongly believe that God was angry with them for demanding water, when in fact God showed no anger when instructing Moses and Aaron. Whether it was a lack of faith, anger, striking the rock twice versus speaking to the rock, or perhaps another answer completely, as commentators across the generations rarely could agree on what exactly the sin was, or if there was a sin at all. Moses and Aaron are forced to suffer the consequences of their action in front of the community. Aaron dies at the end of chapter 20, and Moses at the end of the Torah with only a view of the land that was promised. I'd like to offer an alternative explanation as to why Moses and Aaron may have made this mistake in front of the community and God. Let's go back to the beginning of chapter 20. We learn that the people stayed at Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Immediately, the text informs us that there was no water, and the people quarreled with Moses and Aaron. Miriam is gone, and so is the people's water source, and Moses and Aaron's source of comfort and guidance. The Talmud teaches that the well was given to the Israelites while they were wandering in the wilderness in the merit of Miriam. Miriam was the source of water for 40 years. When she died, this well dried up, and the people were left without any water. For Moses and Aaron, Miriam wasn't just there to provide water to the Israelites. She was the oldest sibling and the source of comfort in stressful times. We know from the book of Exodus that Miriam followed Moses' basket down the river, ensuring his safety. When Pharaoh's daughter found baby Moses, Miriam was there, offering her mother as Moses' nursemaid, allowing Moses to be loved and nurtured by his own mother. Miriam wanted the best for her baby brother. Yes, just the other week, we read about Miriam speaking out against Moses and his wife, causing God to strike Miriam with a terrible skin disease. Moses, caring deeply for his sister, even when she spoke out against him, wastes no time in praying to God. "Oh God, heal her now." Miriam means so much to Moses. He needs her by his side, watching over him as she did when he barely escaped with his life floating down the river. When Miriam dies and we read that there was no water, the text doesn't tell us that anyone cried or mourned her death. In contrast, later in our parasha, when Aaron dies, in the same chapter, we read that the entire community cried for 30 days. If Miriam was so crucial to the story, and in fact, without her, Moses may never have survived, may have never left Egypt. Why does the Torah not set any time for anyone to mourn her? 16th century commentator Kliyakar is deeply troubled by this lack of mourning. He states that the people were without water because no one mourned for Miriam, as she was certainly worthy of being mourned. When Moses and Aaron pass, the nation mourns, but when Miriam passes, all we learn is that there is no water, which leads to Moses and Aaron sinning in front of God and the people, causing the ultimate punishment of not being allowed entrance into the land of Israel. Moses and Aaron just lost their sister. They aren't given a chance to cry and properly mourn for her. Their emotions are running high. The people complain about the lack of water. They run to God for help. God gives them a simple solution. Take your staff, gather the people, speak to the rock, and water will come out, enough for everyone and their beasts. Moses and Aaron don't follow God's command. Whether it was due to a lack of faith or anger, either way, they aren't able to lead in that moment. They are silently mourning for their sister. They are in a deeply fragile state, and yet aren't given any chance to go through the stages of grief and mourning. We learn from the 14th century philosopher and Torah commentator Gersonides that Miriam helped draw the community closer to God. Had she not died, perhaps the people would not have quarreled with Moses and Aaron. Moreover, Moses and Aaron would have consulted with her when God told them to speak to the rock, since she was a prophet and their elder. She would have kept them from doing anything stupid. According to Gersonides, Miriam was both the glue that kept the community close to God and a comfort and a guide for Moses and Aaron. When she died, Moses and Aaron could not turn to her for advice. Perhaps, as Cleocar mentioned, if Moses and Aaron and the entire community had a chance to mourn for Miriam, the water would not have dried up, and Moses and Aaron would have time to remember their sister, which could have helped them realize how to properly handle stressful situations. She was the ultimate comfort for Moses. As I begin my year as rabbinic intern at Temple Aliyah, and as I look out at you here today, Chazan Stein up here on the bima with me, those of you joining us online, as well as Rabbi Vogel over in England, Rabbi Adam in Israel, Chazan Mimi, and the entire Aliyah community, I know that I have so many Miriams that I can go to for comfort and guidance on how best to lead this wonderful community. I hope that through my time here, I too can be a Miriam to all those seeking comfort and guidance. I would like to bless us all here today, whether in person or online, with the ability to seek out a Miriam when needed and to be a Miriam when someone else is in need. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with the second Aliyah, page 890, chapter 21, verse 14.
Ya'amod Chazan Mordechai ben Lazer Ufegel Sheni.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach la'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Al Kain Yamar b'Sefer Milchamot Lad Adonai et Vahev b'Sufa v'et Hanachalim Arnon v'Asher Hanachalim Asher nitet l'Shevet Ar v'Nishan l'Gvul Moav Umisham be'era hi ha'be'er asher amar Adonai leMoshe esof et ha'am v'yetnena lachem mayim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We will continue with the third Aliyah, page 890, chapter 21, verse 17.
Ya'amod Benyamin ben Mordechai Shlishi.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Three?
Yes.
Thank you. Amen. Az yashir Yisrael et hashira hazot ali be'er enula be'er chaparuha sarim karuha nidivei ha'am bimchokek b'mishanotam umimidbar Umimidbar matana, umimatana nachaliel, uminachaliel bamot, uvibamot, Hagai asher besad biste Moav, Rosh hapiska, v'nish kafa al pnei hayeshimon.
ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה, אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen.
We'll continue with the fourth Aliyah, page 890, chapter 21, verse 21.
Ta'amod. Sarah Ariella. Bat Ayezev. Chana Shoshana. Yeah? Okay. Revi'i.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Elohim va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayishlach Yisrael Malachim El Sihon Melech HaEmori Lemor Eberah be'artzecha Lo niteh b'sadeh b'kerem Lo nishteh me'be'er b'derech HaMelech nelech Ad asher na'avor givulecha V'lo natan Sichon et Yisrael Avor bigvulo Vayesov Sichon et kol amo vayetze likrad Yisrael min hamidbara vayavo yatsa vayalachem b'Yisrael vayakehu Yisrael lefi charev vayirash et artso me'arnon ad yabok ad b'nei Amon ki az gevul b'nei Amon vayikach Yisrael et kol ha'arim ha'ela vayeshev Yisrael b'chol arei ha'emori b'cheshbon u'b'chol benotecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
We now take a moment to say a prayer for those in need of healing, whether physical, emotional, spiritual. For those of you in the sanctuary or online and are in need of healing, we are thinking of you as we join together for Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
On this Shabbat, we send blessings of healing to Elon Chayot, Dina bat Yocheved, Chaim ben Sarah, Ruvain ben Malka, Chana bat Fagel, Rachel Sarah bat Leah, Hinda bat Irene, Tirza bat Avraham Sarah, Esther bat Miriam, Chaya Gabriela bat Gela, Veronica Lopez, Magdalena Vartan, Shoshana bat Nechama, Nechama bat Yisrael, Shmuel Aaron ben Hortins, Reuven ben Nel, Eliezer Hanuch ben Chaviva, Karen Nelson, Mark DeVore, Stuart Groden, Hannah Razel bat Devorah Esther, Yehudit Chana bat Pesa, Shoshana bat Raphael v'Shoshana, Moshe ben Chaya, Tova bat Pinchas v'Tova, Kayla Chana ben Chaya Rivka, Herschel Shmuel ben Hendel Rachel, Menachem Yehoshua ben Sarah, Shimon Tzvi ben Basia, Yogef Sender ben Sarah, Shulamit bat Malka, Sue Kasman, Tangi Spencer, Jerry Klenetsky, Romi bat Shira Yoel, Abraham Bornfeld, Megan Harris, Jared Harris, Jacob Harris, Chazan Miriam Pearl bat Kayla Hendel.
Mishebeirach imotenu Bekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue now with the fifth Aliyah, page 891, chapter 21, verse 26.
Ya'amod Daniel ben Chanach, yes, Chamishi.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach L'Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Ki cheshbon sichron melech ha'amoriv vehu nilcham bemelech Moav harishon vayikach et kol artzo miado adarnon al kain yomeru hamoshalim bo cheshbon tibanev etikonein ir sichon ki esh yatzah mecheshbon lechava mikiryat sichon akela armoav ba'alei ba'motanon.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We continue now with the sixth Aliyah, chapter 21, verse 29.
Ya'amod Dov Beryl Ben Yaakov Ubela Shishi
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'Olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Oy lecha Moav avadata am kamosh natan banav paletim natan banav paletim uvanav bashvit lamelech emori sichon v'niram avad cheshbon ad devon v'nashim ad nofach asher al medva. Vayeshev Yisrael ba'eretz ha'emori, vayishlach Moshe l'ragel et hayazer, וילכדו בנותיך, ויורש את האמורי אשר שם, ויפנו ויעלו דרך הבשן, ויצא אוג מלך הבשן לקראתם, הוא וכל עמו למלחמה אדרעי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We continue now with the 7th Aliyah, page 892, chapter 21, verse 34.
Ya'amadu. Simcha. Bat. Madin. Yes. Back. David ben Nassim. Shvi'i.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe al tirato ki ve'yadecha natati oto ve'et kol amo ve'et artso vayasa
Va'asita.
Ve'asita lo ka'asher asita lo in melech ha'amori asher yoshev becheshbon vayaku oto ve'et banav ve'et kol amo ad bilti hishir lo sarid vayireshu et artso vayisu b'nei Yisrael vayachanu be'arvot Moav me'ever le'yarden Yerecho.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
I'd like to thank our Torah readers, Bob Epstein and Rick Schillender. We will now continue with the lifting and the dressing of the Torah for Hagbah and Galila.
Please rise. Na la'amod lahagvahat haTorah v'liglilat haTorah. Bezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. You may be seated.
You may now put away your Chumash and take out the red Siddur for the prayer of our country in the middle of page 177. We will read the first paragraph together, page 177. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials, who faithfully devote themselves to the need of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. We'll continue with a prayer for the state of Israel on the top of page 178.
Avinu shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Geulateinu. Avinu shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Geulateinu.
Avinu Shabbat stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Avinu shebashamayim, Zur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Geulateinu.
We'll continue with the Ashrei found on page 181.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yalelucha selah. Tila leDavid, aramimcha l'hai melech, v'avarecha shimcha le'alam va'ed. Gadol l'olam me'od, v'ligdulato ein cheker. Adar kavod odecha, v'divrei niflotecha asicha. Secher rab tuvecha yabiu, v'tzidchatcha yiranenu. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachama v'chol ma'asav. Kivod malchutecha yomeru, ugvuratecha yedaberu. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Enecha lecha yisaberu, v'ata noten lahem et ochlam b'ito. Teach et yadecha, u'masbir lechol chai ratzon. Tzadik Adonai b'chol dorecha, v'chasid b'chol ma'asav. Ritzon yireav ya'aseh, v'yet shavatam yishma v'yoshivim. Tilat Adonai laber pi, v'varech kol basar shem kodsho la'alam va'ed, v'anachnu levarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah.
We'll now be returning the Torah to the ark. If you have been honored with opening the ark or carrying the Torah, please come forward as we invite you all to please rise on page 183.
Natati lachem Torati al המחזיקים בה בתומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם בכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם חדש ימינו חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם. Please remain standing as we continue with.
Please you remain standing for the Musaf Amidah, whether if it is with the words found in your Siddur in Hebrew or English, the private prayers or meditations of your heart. This is your time to connect with the oneness, with life, with God, and with your soul as we begin our Musaf service, page 185.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל
We'll continue with the Kaddish Shalem, page 203.
יתגדל ויגדל שמי רבה, ועמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ובימיכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלו בזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עומיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחת ונחמתה דבירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון ועוד הון לכל בית ישראל קדם ובהונדי ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. That's over, yeah. So now, Ein Kelohenu? Ein Kel, I got to find the page. Hold on.
204.
204, thank you. Wow. Whew. Maybe we should do the version that you can hardly see in the corner there. Let's do the Ladino version, okay? Eloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemachenu, Ein Kamoshienu, none como nuestro Dios, none como nuestro Señor, none como nuestro Rey, none como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Chemachenu, mi Moshiachenu, quien como nuestro Dios, quien como nuestro Señor, quien como nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Emakenu, no del Moshiachenu, lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonai, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshiachenu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, ההוא שהקטירו אבותינו לפניך את קטורת האסמים. יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 לה.
Please rise for the Aleinu found on page 205.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ והארץ מתחת. אינו על כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהינו, לראות מהר ותפארת עוזך, להעביר גלולים מן הארץ והאלילים הרוק יתרצון, לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, וכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך, להפנות אליך כל ראשיה, יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל, כי לך תכרע כל ברך, תשמע כל לשון, לפניך אדוני אלוהינו יכרו ויפולו, ולכבוד שמך יקריתנו, ויקבלו כולם את כל מלכותך, ותמלוך עליהם מהרה לעולם ועד, כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי עד, תמלוך בכבוד. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. On this Shabbat, we remember those whose yortzites are this week: Lillian Bernstein, Stuart Block, Fred Bodenheimer, Joseph Elner, Barbara Bobby Enton, Nadi Epstein, Elaine Epstein, Joseph Fagenblatt, Saul Garfinkel, Sarah Jeniger, Larry Goldberg, Alvin Gorlick, Florence Harwin, Rudolph Hochsinger, Sidney Jackson, Pinchas Kardish, Abraham Karp, Sam Katz, Michael Keys, Sylvia Kyrie, Alfred G. Lee, Mary Mendelson, Francis H. Michaud, Teresa Nixon, Shirlene Peveroff, Abraham Rank, Ralph Rauchman, Mario Resnick, Jean Rubin, Anna Sachs Birnbaum, Grace Sager, Melville Sandomirsky, Alex P. Satin, Rabbi Moishe Schechter, Jerome Schless, Helen Schubert, Estelle Schwartz, Sandra Siegel, Norma Schulman, Ken Small, Marty Solomon, Bretta Starr, Diane Steinberg, David Stern, Bonnie Vizelman, Melvin Wank, Abraham Waxman, Irving Zuckerman. At this time, we also acknowledge the recent bereavements of Mark Heumann, husband of Barbara Heumann, Gary Grossman, brother of Glenn Pam Grossman. All those in mourning or observing a yortzeit, we invite you to please rise to recite the words of the Kaddish on page 58. And if you're watching at home, we invite you to rise and share the name of the loved one and join us as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish, page 58. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei alamaya. V'it barach v'ishtabach v'it pa'ar v'it romam v'it naseh. V'it hadar v'it aleh v'it halal shemei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. It's now my pleasure to invite Temple Aliyah's president for some announcements, Debbie Strom.
Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to everyone who's joined us today here in the sanctuary and on live stream. Next Friday evening at 7 o'clock, we'll be back here in the sanctuary with our friends from Shomrei Torah for Summer Shul, and it is beach theme next week. So wear something Hawaiian and join us afterwards for an ice cream oneg. And next Saturday morning, we'll be back here as usual at 10 o'clock for Shabbat Morning Services. One of the things that makes Aliyah special is our community of caring. We are currently collecting new school supplies for School on Wheels. You can drop off your donations through August 5th. Cedars Sinai will be here on Sunday, July 31st for a blood drive, and you can register for a specific appointment time on our website. If you'd like more information about Aliyah or other upcoming events, just ask us or visit our website at templealiyah.org. As always, thank you for being a part of Aliyah's continuing story. Shabbat Shalom.
And thank you to our rabbinic intern, David Mendelson, for a beautiful service this morning. Okay, please rise for the V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash al kein berach Adonai et yom hashabat vayikadshehu savri chaverai baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'alam Borei peri hajofen. We used to have a Yemenite synagogue that would and that's how they'd say Gofen, Jofin. So, anyway, it's fun.
Asher Kiddushanu B'Mitzvotav V'Tzivanu Al Netilat Yadayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom, good Shabbos, and buen Shabbat.
I have to take that class though, so you teach it again next semester. Sarah. I was here last night. This is my first night.
Beautiful chalot. Oh my God, I had so many things to juggle today because, usually Chazan Mimi would be here. So many things, but she has